Hey my lovely YouTubers, welcome back to my YouTube channel with me, your girl Morgan Tracy J, coming today with a new YouTube video. And today's video is something I wanted to do for Vlogmas. I wanted to sit down and have like a real chit chat with you guys. I'm even in some pajamas because I want to invite you to my vision board pajama party at the end of December. So I just want to go ahead and invite you. It's a free thing, guys. I do this every year, and so you can click the link in the description box to go ahead and sign up for that vision board party. But I just wanted to invite you to come on over, join us for our vision board party so we can get the vision and the word for 2024. Okay, but anyways, today's video is not actually about the vision or the word. Today's video is actually about the holiday season. And although we know this is like the most wonderful time of the year, Christmas is one of my favorite seasons, but the truth is there's a lot of depression that many times that comes during this season. Depression, anxiety, a lot of that. And so today I want to actually talk to you about my personal story dealing with anxiety and panic attacks. And this is something I've talked about multiple times on my channel. But today I want to go a little more in depth, and I want to be real vulnerable and just share with you my journey through it to help somebody else, okay? So boo, before we get into this video, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube family. If you haven't already, girl, make sure you follow me over on Instagram. We are always sharing behind the scenes content over there and uplifting you over there. As well as I have a ministry called hisdaughterscloset.com. If you ever want some resources, some encouragement, some help, some prayer, check out His Daughter's Closet. I know it will bless you. Let's get into this pajama talk, I guess, because I mean, literally, I'm in some pajamas. Let's get into this talk, okay? Okay, let's talk about some anxiety, okay, and panic attacks. Okay, if you're ready, let's talk about anxiety and panic attacks, okay? Now, the truth is, I have shared my journey with anxiety for some years now. But if you're new here, I want to tell you that it probably was maybe when I was about 23, 24 years old, I had my very first ever panic attack. I never had anxiety that I knew of up to that moment. I did not know of anxiety. I did not even know of panic attacks. And even when I was having a panic attack at the time, I did not realize what was going on. So let me just give you this rundown. So one night I'm laying in bed, and this is after a couple years, it's like a year after college. I have failed out. I'm trying to build this ministry. I'm trusting the Lord. I think I'm like 24 years old, and I'm asleep in my bed. And then all of a sudden I wake up to this horrible pain in my body. I mean, like my back is hurting, my stomach, it's like I'm hurting all over. And I actually tried to lay with it, like, I don't know what's going on, but it's just a pain. And it was so excruciating that I remember even getting on the floor of my room, not knowing why my body was in all of this pain. I mean, I laid with that panic or that panic attack without not realizing at the time for probably like almost 30 minutes. And I was sweating, and I was feeling sick, and it was hard for me to breathe. And I did not know it was a panic attack. And I had walked out to the bathroom, and I was like struggling because I felt like I was going to pass out. Like I didn't understand what was going on with me. And what happened was, it just happened, one of my parents was up at the time, and they were like, "Is everything okay?" And I felt like when I seen them, I was able to be real about like, I don't know what's going on with me. Like I didn't know what the heck was going on with me. And next thing I remember I'm like outside because I was sweating so much. It was cold outside. I'm like outside in the middle of the night trying to breathe. I'm sitting off of our porch trying to catch my breath, not knowing what was going on. So it wasn't until maybe the following few days that I realized I had a panic attack, and it was attached to anxiety. And then I was like, what was I anxious about? Like I literally could not put my finger on what was I anxious about. And granted, my life wasn't great, but there was nothing causing me ever to have a panic attack. And so I want to share with you this is that it was time to start doing some inward work. And I actually am grateful for that very first panic attack because it allowed me to realize that there was still some unhealed trauma deep within myself that I had not overcome yet. There's a book out there, I can't think of the author's name, but I read it when I was in university. It was called The Body Keeps the Score. So it says that even though we go on with life and although we heal on the external, many times the inward parts of our body keeps the score. It remembers things. And so what was happening is I was having a panic attack. I was having a trauma response to something that happened to me very young. About 13 or 14 years old, as a young girl, I was asleep on a couch at my home one day. And my stepfather, who raised me since I was two, my stepfather, I looked at him like a father. But I think I was about 14 or 15. I don't really know. But I remember I woke up in the middle of the night. I fell asleep on that couch, and I woke up to him fondling me, touching on me. And I remember just closing my eyes and hoping the moment would go away. And then I remember when the moment went away, I ran into my bedroom at the time, which I shared with my sister. And I remember just being frozen. Like, I could not believe it. He was the only man in the home at this season of my life. And so I knew it was him. I just knew it because I seen him. And a part of me wished it wasn't real. And so that was something that happened to me very early on. And even though I moved forward and I technically forgave, I never really dealt with that. I never dealt with what I encountered. And so now I'm 24 years old. It's the middle of the night and I'm having a panic attack and I'm having all this pain in my body and I don't understand it. And so now I have to go on this journey of trying to unravel this trauma with the Lord, of some stuff that maybe, even though I tried to push it away thinking I got past it, my body kept the score. My body remembered. And so now this is years and years later. Okay, like, so I go through this panic attack, I go through this anxiety, and I will tell you probably for the next few months, I was having a panic attack every couple weeks. But I started to learn how to control it. I started to learn some techniques that I truly believe the Lord gave me. But when I would start feeling my panic attack coming on, I had color pencils and I had a notebook, and I would sit there and I would color and I would focus on the strokes and I would focus on my breathing. And I started to learn how to get through my panic attacks. And that probably happened for a few months where I finally got the hang of, like, it didn't have to hold me down. And I will tell you guys, now, just because the panic attacks left did not mean anxiety left. Anxiety was still there. And even to this day, I still experience anxiety. But I want to show where things turned for me. Like, things took a different turn for me. Because now this is years later. And I realized sometimes that your anxiety is attached to your environment. Because when I was having all of this anxiety, I was actually living in the home that I had grown up in pretty much. And so it makes sense that I was still having all this anxiety because I had a lot of unresolved trauma within myself, right? And so I ended up moving. And in that time of moving, I realized I wasn't having that much anxiety and I wasn't having panic attacks. Like, I mean, I went like a year plus without even having one panic attack. And I remember kind of looking up like, wow, okay, this is awesome. Now, granted, I was still having anxiety here and there. Like, some things I was getting very anxious about. And there is a such thing as healthy anxiety where you get like worrisome, you get nervous. If you get to an edge of a cliff, you might get a little anxiety, right? That's natural and that's normal. But this anxiety was something that was always in my body. Like I could wake up with it. I could go to sleep with it. I could be sitting down with my dog having the most comfortable, chill moment, and I would feel anxiety spur up in my body, right? And so as a Christian woman, though, like, I knew to pray against these things, and I knew to, speak over these things, speak life over myself. I knew the things to do, and I was praying through this. And then I had come across, the scripture where Paul had this thorn in his flesh. And for many seasons, I felt like my healing, my lack of healing, my anxiety, my trauma was this thorn in my flesh that I just could not get over. And I felt like I was always like, God, if I could get over this, then I would be perfect. Like, I'd be Gucci, right? Like, but then it makes sense that sometimes you're not meant to be perfect. You're not meant to have no issues, because guess what happens? The more thorns sometimes you have in your life, the more reasons you come back to the feet of Jesus. And so that thorn was really kind of keeping me at God's feet a lot, because I realized I could not heal myself. I could do all the journaling and all the praying, and I could do all the meditation or whatever they said to do. I could go back to that situation. I could rewrite that story, but there was truly some deep inward healing that only God could do for me. And so, so years go by. I'm living in this other city. Anxiety is very low at the time, but my anxiety now was showing up just like in my stomach. I would get these real bad stomach pains, okay? And it would just come up. It would be waves of it. It would just be waves of this anxiety, right? And I remember kind of feeling like, okay, like I could look up and I could go one whole week no anxiety, or I just wouldn't remember it. So I knew it was getting further and further away. And truly, I felt like I had overcome anxiety. I definitely felt like I overcame panic attacks. I definitely felt like my anxiety was really non-existent at this time. And one night, see, this one time to tell you, anxiety is so crazy, because you can be having the best day ever and it comes out of nowhere and you're like, where did this come from? Like, what are the root to this? So one day I went out to get some sushi with one of my friends, and we go to this cute little sushi spot we've been before, and we're like, we're going to get sushi and then we're going to go do an adult skate night. Like, we had these plans, right? So we get dressed up. I go get sushi. We're having the best time. And while I'm sitting at the table eating sushi, I feel this wave of anxiety. And if you never experienced anxiety and panic attacks, you know what I mean. It came so strong. And I'm just eating sushi. I haven't had panic attacks or really, I didn't have panic attacks in over a year, 2 years at this time. And anxiety, I had it every so often. But so I have this wave of anxiety just hit me, and I'm like, oof, like I'm really sitting there trying to eat, but I'm trying to breathe now. I'm trying to work on my breathing. I'm trying to, talk to myself within my head, like let myself know like everything is fine. There's nothing to worry about. I'm speaking life to myself within myself. And so pretty much the tab is done. We close the tab, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to meet you at the skating place. So I'll meet you there. So I get in my car, and even as I'm walking to my car, I feel this panic attack coming on. And if you've ever had a panic attack, you know what it feels like in your body. It's just this pain, and you're trying to breathe, and it just feels like everything is tight, like everything is closing up. And I was trying to breathe at that moment. And as I'm walking to my car, and I'm like I literally am trying my best to breathe. And I get in my car, and I lay my seat back, and I am having probably the worst panic attack I'd ever had in my life, y'all. I have tears running down my face, and I'm trying to breathe, and I'm I feel like I'm hyperventilating. I'm having and this pain is all through my body. And I'm literally in my car. So I turned my car on, and I was listening to on Sirius XM, one of the worship stations. It might be K-Love or something like that. And I turn on that, and I'm just laying there, and I'm praying in my head, and I'm saying Jesus' name. And I'm like, this was one of the worst I've ever experienced, you guys. I'm trying to tell you, the first panic attack I thought I had, this one was beyond that. This one felt like death. My body was so much in pain. Like I said, I have tears running down my face. I just don't know what caused that, right? And I'm laying in my car. I'm laying back there, and I'm I'm trying my best to breathe. I'm trying my best to minister to myself through this, and I'm literally so upset though. And in that moment, I was kind of feeling like I was upset with God, because I had told people oh, I haven't had panic attacks in years. Anxiety is non-existent. The Lord has really brought me through this. And in that moment, I was like, hold on, I thought we were past this. And I'm feeling all this pain. And you know what? It's so crazy is right when I was I can't get, this is too much. I can't take no more. That's how it felt in that panic attack. My body just couldn't take it. And I just knew, keep praying, keep breathing, keep praying, keep breathing. And you see, I wasn't around no color pencils, so I didn't have no color pencils to try to get out and try to color and work through that. I had to just keep fighting through that. And I remember being laying in my car, and the tears are just rolling down my face because I'm just trying to breathe, and the pain is truly excruciating. And I'm just saying Jesus' name. I'm just praying. And all of a sudden, I just knew that this was not something that I still was carrying, because any other time I've had them, I didn't experience them this way. And at this time, me and my friend, we were out in the beginning of May, and every summer I do this series called the Glow Up series, or the Fearless series, or Glow Up season, something like that. And I've been doing this for years. It's called a summer series, and really it's for the unsaved, to bring unsaved to get saved kind of deal. And so I'm laying in my car, and it's the beginning of May. The series is getting ready to drop in the middle of May, into May. And that was something that me and her were talking about during this eating of sushi. And I realized that right when God is getting ready to take you higher, sometimes something will come to disqualify you. And so the moment when I was laying in my car, not able to breathe, I then felt disqualified for the ministry because I was going through anxiety and had a panic attack. I felt disqualified for the calling now because no longer what I was proclaiming was true now. I felt so disqualified in that moment, and I had to pay attention to what the attack was trying to get me to grab a hold to. The attack was saying, you're disqualified now. Don't go forward with them, and don't go forward with the ministry. Don't go forward with the series because you are now disqualified. And that's what the attack was wanting me to grab a hold of. And I want to tell you, if you have gone through depression or you've been going through anxiety, and then you all of a sudden get this wave that's bigger any other time, and you've been going through this crushing on a level that was bigger than any other season, I want to tell you, many times before God takes you higher, the enemy wants to come and bring something to disqualify you. So as I was laying in my car and I'm trying to breathe, I got it. I realized, oh, this is just an attack to disqualify me, so I will not go forward into the summer series because thousands are going to get saved. Thousands of women are going to come into the ministry. We're going to do more things than we've ever done before. We're walking into new territory. God has a new blessing for us. There's new doors opening up for us. And so, I'm getting ready to walk into some new places, and I'm going to a higher ground. So with that being said, there's a bigger attack now. This attack no longer is just a little mental moment. This is actually attacking my body right now. So what I have to realize is this whole purpose is to make me feel disqualified for what I'm called to do. So since this is trying to disqualify me, what I have to do is, Morgan, you got to get through this attack. You got to get through this moment. You got to get through this pain, and you got to go forward with what God called you to do. So I'm laying in that car. I get the revelation. I'm still breathing hard. And all I heard the Lord say is, sit your seat up and go. But I'm still in all that pain. So I'm like, I grab the thing, I pull my seat up, and I put my car in drive. And I start driving. I'm driving. And I'm like, I need to call my friend and I need to cancel tonight because I just had this whole panic. Like, I just need to cancel. And the Lord said, don't cancel anything. And I'm driving, you guys. And I'm like, no, like I just had this panic. I'm still breathing hard. And if you've ever had a panic attack, you feel limp. You feel like you could pass out. You feel like you're just so limp, like that's not, like you're just so exhausted. And that's how I was driving, and I was feeling so exhausted, and I'm getting closer. And I want to tell you, the closer I got to that location to meet my friend, the more I began to feel better. I want to tell you, by the time I got there, I got out, changed the shoes I was wearing, put on some tennis shoes, grabbed my socks, grabbed my wallet, walk in there, and we had a whole skate night. We skated all night long. And when I got in there, she said, where you been, girl? Because I was running late now. And I was like, girl, and I told her, I had this whole attack, like panic attack. Like I haven't had these in years. And I was like, you know what though? That's not going to stop me. I'm going to continue to go for it. I seen what the purpose of the attack was. I seen why it came at me so hard. I see it. And you know what? We had a skate night the rest of the night. And you know what? I went home that night. I talked to the Lord alone in my room a little bit. Like I was like, oh, Jesus, like that hurt my body. Like my whole body was hurting. I'm like, God, I ain't never experienced that before. But you know what, y'all? I'm trying to tell you, that was like 2 years ago. I have not had a panic attack since that moment. Because I want to tell you, sometimes we are going through things because our body is keeping the score, and we are going through things, and we go through these challenges, and then God finally heals us, and he starts to restore us, and he starts to show proof of those results. And then the enemy brings it back, and you kind of think, and it makes you question, did I even heal? Did I even overcome this? And then the very thing it's trying to do is disqualify you from going forward. And many times we have allowed things to disqualify us. We're like, oh man, I fell into sin. I fell here. I can't go forward. You know, it's happened to me many times, and I've shared it very openly on my channel, that I'm like, oh, this happened. I can't go forward. When really quickly God says, Morgan, you do not qualify yourself. Your good works do not qualify you. My blood and my sacrifice is what qualifies you. Daughter, there is nothing you could do that will qualify you except only saying, Jesus, you are my Lord and Savior, and I serve you, and I love you, and I'm gonna try my best, and I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get right with you. God's like, there is nothing that you can do that will qualify you for this. And you over here thinking, oh, now that I got anxiety, I'm disqualified for oh, now that I went through that season, I'm disqualified. Oh, now that I'm struggling financially, I'm disqualified. Oh, now that, the relationship I told them about ain't working out, I'm disqualified. God's like, no, sis. Oh, the struggle you went through makes you disqualified. No, that ain't how it works. Jesus said, you are qualified by my blood. There was nothing you can do to qualify yourself. The sacrifice was the qualification. So now that you are qualified, now I'm going to take you through consecration. Now I'm going to develop you. Now I'm going to make you evolve into the woman I have for you. But with that, have for you to be. But with that being said, daughter, there is nothing you can do. You cannot qualify yourself. And so the enemy comes to trick us, because in the moments of our lives, we say, oh, now I'm more qualified to walk in this ministry. Now I'm more qualified to do this thing God is calling me to do. And when I was having my panic attack, it was telling me, now you're disqualified. You can't go forward with that series. You can't go forward in the ministry. You can't go get this degree. You can't believe God to break you free. You can't. Oh, you fell in that sin. Oh, you're disqualified. You're disqualified. When the truth is, God is saying the very attacks come to disqualify you, but I'm trying to use them to take you higher. God says there's some attacks that come in your life that all it is a sign to say you're getting ready to go to higher ground. Okay. And so I've got a lot more to share on all of that, but I just want to tell you, if you are somebody in a season where you're going through panic attacks and you're going through a lot of anxiety and you're going through all these winds and emotions, I want to encourage you, seek the Lord for healing. Okay. When I realized my panic attacks was something rooted, deep rooted, I had to start working through that thing. I had to start having conversations. I had to start having conversations with the Lord. The reason I can tell you right here on YouTube and tell the world, because I already spoke to the Lord about that. That's something me and the Lord already been talking to about for years. So I can finally come out and say it clear as day. I've said it multiple times, even in some sermons, because I've spoken to the Lord about that. Me and the Lord are Gucci on that now. So I want to encourage you, though, to be willing to have those conversations with the Lord on the stuff that you truly don't want to talk about, because that is the key to break you free, girl. And when you get your healing, you're going to look up and it's going to be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, that thing is not there anymore, that thorn is not there anymore. But you have to also understand that sometimes attacks come to disqualify you, to make you feel disqualified. And so if I would have believed years ago when I had that panic attack in that car that now I'm disqualified for the ministry, I would have never went forward in the things God has shown me. But I want to tell you, there's a such thing as spiritual discernment. You got to have a discerning spirit to say, you know what, this is very odd. This is coming at a time I'm getting ready to step into something new. This is coming at all this opposition is coming at a time when I know God is taking me to higher ground. All this opposition is coming at a time right when I'm getting ready to launch the vision. This opposition is coming right now at a time when I'm getting ready to step into this new place. All this opposition is coming right now right when I'm getting ready to sign up for school. See, I'm trying to tell you, there's some opposition that comes. These attacks come right when you're getting ready to go to higher ground. So daughter, if you have seen yourself in a lot of opposition, a lot of turmoil, a lot of crazy paths lately, I want to tell you, sis, that means that you come into higher ground, but you got to make sure that this struggle does not disqualify you, because the blood of Christ is what qualifies you. So girl, I didn't know the Lord was going to bring it all around like that. But what I did know is that I got to share my journey, because today I can say I still get anxiety. I do. There are some days I get anxiety. I can be in my office and I can have a rush of anxiety, and I don't know where that came from. And I'm just like, okay, Lord, because you know what? Sometimes our body has been in a fight or flight mode for so long. So sometimes it takes a little while to come out of that, to be reprogrammed. And so I want to encourage you, don't think your struggles disqualify you. The blood of Christ qualifies you, okay? So when we go through these struggles and when we go through these pains, we go through these valleys, do not believe the lie of the enemy saying, now I'm disqualified for the vision. Now I'm disqualified for the purpose. Some people say, oh, I don't have the money, so I'm disqualified to go do that thing. No, you're not disqualified. You're actually more qualified than ever. You're going to use the grace of the Lord. You're going to use the divine resources of God to get those things done, okay? So anyways, y'all, I could go on with this for ages, but I wanted to share this with you because I know the truth and the struggle of when you have gone through some things and you feel like they disqualify you. You carry the shame of that. You carry, all of that, and that's not yours to carry. The blood of Christ qualifies you, girl. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you tomorrow for our next Vlogmas video. Bye. That's my daddy. Okay, that is my daddy. Okay.